My god. It's been so long since I've last done one of these. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I apologize harder than Jay-Z to Beyonce, his family, his friends, and his fans in 444. Holy shit, it's been so long. I guess I gotta start this video. Hello everyone, if you don't know who I am, well then you can call me Ari. And today I am once again talking about comics with a very long time requested comic. This comic was actually requested to me back when I first started talking about comics on this channel. And I told my friend Maya, who asked me to do this video, that I was going to save it for Valentine's Day, but then my computer broke and I was having emotional issues and I got the flu. And then I spent 3 days in bed, very sick, but I am back. I am back. I am here. I am talking about comics. And today the comic that I am talking about is Always Human by WalkingNorth. This is a completed romance webcomic that takes place in a sci-fi sci-fi setting that was featured online webtoon. It ran from 2015 to 2017. The comic takes place in the 24th century, where our main character, 22-year-old Sun, whose full name I can't pronounce, so I'm just gonna call her Sun, is a developer at a coding company. And on her way to work most days, she saw a young woman who didn't look like she was using mods. Mods are exactly what they sound like in our futuristic society. We use them to modify ourselves and our bodies. This is both used as cosmetics and for other upgrades, like enhancing our memory to store information. They're a really cool enhancement that we basically use to beat biology. We can use mods to permanently have awesome hair, or permanently have makeup, or to even adjust our body size. But 18-year-old college student Austin is one of the rare few people in this society without the ability to use mods. She's basically living her life like how we do here in the 21st century, confounded to biology, having to worry about her mental state and her weight and other such things, while a character like Sun has no problem at all living her life and doesn't have to go through many of the hardships that Austin does. The two meet after Sun offers Austin a mod, thinking that she probably couldn't afford one or she didn't want to use one, and Austin bursts into tears saying that she cannot use mods due to her disability. And after Sun apologizes to Austin and Austin says there's no hard feelings between them, Sun asks her out on a date because Austin is just so freaking cute and she always thought that she was cute even before offering her the mod. And that's how our story begins. This comic is one that's both easy and difficult for me to talk about, because on one hand this comic is very interesting and it does a lot of things that I like, but on the other hand this comic is so heavily flawed. With the story, the setting of the 24th century is great, and WalkingNorth, whose real name I know is also Ari, but I'm going to call her WalkingNorth in order to avoid confusion because we have the same name, she makes sure to include a bit of world building so that we can see the key differences between the lifestyles of Sun and Austin. It's really awesome to get to know about the 24th century and how humans were able to beat biology by modifying ourselves, how mods are so incorporated into our daily lives that someone like Austin, who's basically living in the 21st century, is considered as disabled because she isn't able to use mods, and gets disability checks that pays enough so that she never has to worry about work. There's also some kind of neat little minor details, like how the architecture in this world seems to incorporate nature in some way, how we were able to advance VR so much that it was completely immersive, how people who don't use mods and are all about nature, man, are kind of seen as stuck-up, pretentious vegan hippies, I guess. That's like the best way I can describe it. And for me personally, I think that's a very refreshing setting. Seeing how so many novels and sci-fi novels that are very popular nowadays take place in a dystopian future, and how old dystopian novels have been making a comeback into today's pop culture and society, seeing how they kind of align with the very dark mindset of today. And for me personally, a utopian future is very bright and refreshing, because I too like to take comfort in a future where we've worked together to create progress and haven't torn each other apart. A future where we are all looking out for each other and are trying to better humanity. A future where we were able to get a grasp on technology and we don't have to worry about robots and AI killing each other. A future with clean energy and non-corrupt politicians, where science is constantly being modified and pushed. A future that I will unfortunately never get to see due to my fleeting mortality as a human being. But where all of that is really fine and good, the writing of this comic is incredibly weak. I hate to say it, but there are times where this comic should be seen rather than read, and that mostly takes place in season 1. There's a lot of very lovably cheesy dialogue in here, and when I say that, I don't mean that as in the dialogue is intentional, where the writer is going, hey, look at this kind of cheesy dialogue that you'll see in old movies from the early 2000s or 90s, haha, let's all laugh at it together. No, I mean as though the writing really wants you to take this seriously. It really wants you to really understand and connect with the interactions and the inner monologuing of these characters. And instead of me laughing with it with the author, I find myself laughing at it because, haha, this dialogue is so cheesy, it's hysterical, I can't believe people actually still write like this, I thought we were past this. Romance, it makes people do and say stupid things. There's also times where the story feels like it's really dragging at times, and that's because the writing doesn't want me to stay invested. There were times where I was reading entire chapters, and at the end of the chapter I was going, wait, what the hell just happened? Because the writing was so weak and boring that I completely forgot about it. This is a really big problem in season 1. It does seem as though North's writing does improve in season 2, as I was able to stay more invested in season 2. But in season 1, it's definitely a comic that you're going to look at more than you're going to read. The characters are probably just as weak as the writing in this comic, starting with the supporting cast, who kind of linger and that I really don't care about most of the time. With as much screen time as the supporting cast gets, I should be able to care about these people, like Ray, Sun's best friend, a character who comes up predominantly in this comic, and there are things that I do know about her. Like, for one, she has a high amount of self-confidence. Another one being that she cares about Sun a lot and she doesn't want her feelings to get hurt, so she's very defensive about her friend when she starts dating people. And in the side story, you find out that Ray is asexual and has a very, very casual conversation in small detail that is just a part of the character but doesn't really matter to the character or the story. But I really don't care about Ray. Most of the time I wanted her to just get out the comic because it felt like she was there for too long. Same thing goes for other characters like some of Austin's friends and Sun's parents. If anything, the only supporting character done right in this comic was Austin's brother, who you got a clear image and interpretation of and was in and out in the span of 2 or 3 chapters. This is a silly, goofy kid who's kind of a brat but really does care about his sister and feels as though he has to kind of evaluate some of the girls that his sister is interested in, but also tell his sister, hey, this person's alright, but are you kind of sure about it? There's also times where it feels as though these characters are very clearly written with their sexuality or gender identity in mind at first, due to how little personality these characters have or interest that I take in them. And that's like writing 101. That's one of the greatest sins you can commit in comics that unfortunately pop up more and more nowadays, but you know, I'm not really complaining that much because it could be worse. It could be way fucking worse. But Sun is also a victim of the writing of this comic. After all, she's the one with the most cheesy dialogue and cheesy lines. She's the one telling at least 90% of this story, and it feels as though there are times where Sun is too perfect. Yes, the comic makes sure to tell us that Sun does have flaws. Like, for one, she's not selfish, and she says whatever is on her mind without thinking about the consequences. But that's the most that we kind of get out of her, and that's also the reason why I think that she and many other characters in this comic were written with their sexuality in mind first. If anything, the most interesting character in this comic is Austin because of her disability and how she copes with that disability. She openly tells people that she does not want anyone feeling bad for her because she cannot use Moz. She tells them to not give up technology for her because she loves technology. Technology is this wonderful, beautiful thing that has helped advance society. And she's such a strong character that she wants to try and understand the technology that failed her, something that is not top priority with the eyes of the government and other scientists because of how rare her disease is. But she doesn't care. She doesn't care that she's not going to be able to cure the disease. She doesn't care about how uninterested she is in being a scientist. She just cares about trying to understand and make progress with understanding her disability. Because again, Austin is a victim to biology. She isn't able to use mods to help store the information she needs for school. She isn't able to use mods to keep up her appearance. She isn't able to use mods to maintain her body weight. She has to do everything herself, much like how we live today. Because of how unwilling she is to give up, because of how she wants no one to feel bad for her, because of how she knows of her reality and she's accepting of it. She knows that she isn't able to do everything in the world. She knows that she has to work harder than everybody else, and she doesn't really have that much of a problem with it. Yes, it sucks a lot, but she's not going to give up. And the relationship between Sun and Austin is extremely strong because this is an actual couple, and it's very easy for me to see why my friend Maya recommended this comic to me, because the writing between these characters and their relationship and their dilemmas and how they act like adults it's the highlight of this comic. It's the reason why you should read this comic. These two really do get along. They have good chemistry with each other. They have to talk and work out their relationship between some of the rough patches that every couple goes through. And the conversations that they have are very realistic. They have to learn different things about each other. They have to overcome different barriers and roadblocks in order to respect each other more. They have to talk about their differences and about their relationship plenty of times. But yeah, Sun and Austin's relationship, awesome. Very well written. I like it a lot. You should probably just read the comic for the relationship. Oh, and the artwork. The artwork in this comic is hands down without a doubt the best element of this comic. Character designs fit the setting, are very pleasing to look at, and are really cute because Austin is really cute and I need more cute in my life and I want to date her because I'm a sad, lonely lesbian. There's a very, very heavy use of watercolors for shading and background, and they're very skillfully used. North really knows what she's doing here. Plus, if you read a lot of webtoons, especially ones that came out during the time this comic was publishing, you're going to spot a few characters that you know, because North asked permission from the webtoons creators and other artists from Tumblr and around the internet if she can use their characters to cameo in the comic and use as background characters. And I'm not gonna lie, the only ones that I were able to spot and recognize were Annabelle and Mel from Left Not Found. All these characters in my face. That was the only one I was able to spot. That comic isn't even on webtoons. So in the end, this is a heavily flawed comic. The main reason you should read this is for A, the artwork, and B, the relationship between Sun and Austin, because it is so strongly written. It has so much care put into it. North really does know how to write relationships, and she writes them well. She just has to work on her dialogue and her storytelling and her characters. Her artwork is great. Her storytelling with the relationships are great. Everything else, not so much. So on Twitter, while I was on break for the holidays, I asked you guys if you would like to see me give scores for these comics. And the reply was nearly 50-50, but most of you guys said yes. So I thought for the next 5 full-length episodes of talking about comics, I would give scores. And for this one, I'm giving this a 5 out of 10. Honestly, the bad outweighs the good for me. But to give credit where credit's due, there really is a lot of good for this one. And although I did enjoy my time with this comic, this is one that I'm just gonna read once and never going to read again. I do kind of recommend this one, but if what I said about the writing and the characters turned you off, there's no harm in skipping it. Because again, I read this once, I'm never going to read it again. So that's about it for this video. Tell me what you think about it in the comments below. And once again, I just want to give a very, 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 very big thank you to my friend Maya. She has been waiting so patiently for me to do this video, and I hope I was able to do her justice. So please go follow her on Twitter, check her out. She's a very sweet girl. I'll also leave a link in the description below to her website. She has a clothing line that she's trying to get off the ground. So if you're into cute things, pastels, and something to go along with your Lolita dress, please check it out. Also down there, as always, is a link to the comic along with the creator's social, along with my links, my Twitter, Ko-fi, Twitch, and Mal. Follow me anywhere on those. I'm a pretty okay person, I guess. And with that being said, that's it for this video. Subscribe if you want more. And until next time, my name is Ari, and have a good one.